Hi, I'm Austin O'Sheal. I'm going to be recording this as a video explaining a paper I'm writing for my English 114 class. So what the paper is about is it's about independent film, more specifically many of the problems they have and a lot of the solutions that a lot of fellow filmmakers like myself have come up with to help them make these really cool artsy masterpieces on such a low budget. So where most of that problem comes from is when you think about movies, you don't typically think about a lack of funding. Movies typically have all that they need. I mean, when you think about Hollywood, you think about money on money on money. You got A-list actors getting paid A-list money to do incredible movies with CGI and special effects and all this stuff. But the reality is that's no longer really what the film industry is anymore. The film industry kind of has a little bit of a split. As you've probably seen with a lot of movies like Avengers and a bunch of other things like that, a lot of really cool high budget movies have been coming out, but a lot of them are very saturated. And what I mean is they're very straightforward, profit focused. You know, they make the movie to make the toy, or they make it to sell to China. But a lot of the times they don't really have a purpose behind the film. There's no reason behind it. They either have like this scripted, this is the message I want to get across, or they have this, I want this to be what earns me the most money. And it's a really regrettable thing. Because of that, the art side of film is being lost. And so that's where independent filmmakers come in. These artists come in and they tell these incredible stories about self-discovery and exploring topics that aren't really explored a lot. And so it gives it a really awesome, fleshed out story that's just absolutely perfect. But the problem is, that doesn't make as much money. When you think about big film industries like Sony, Disney, stuff like that, you think about companies that are out there seeking for the biggest profit they can possibly get with the widest audience reach they can get. And they get that with stuff like Marvel and just their typical Disney movies. They reach for that wide audience. You can't really do that with independent films. Independent films are typically very targeted or very, very specific, so you can't appeal to a wider audience. So companies like Disney and Sony, they're not really all that interested in making these really artsy movies. They might make really great movies, but not these really specific closed story ones. That's where independent artists come in. They come in and they make these incredible, small, contained stories that don't really need all the CGI and stuff like that. But the problem is they don't get the money they need to. Most of them are people just like me that are going to college or they're just right out of college and they make very little money and they just want to make art and they want to make movies. What this paper is mainly about is it's going to be about some of the solutions that they've come up with for how to get past this, because it's so hard, it's so difficult to raise money when you don't know any of the people you need to talk to, or you don't know any resources that you need to go to find these things. And it's difficult, especially for someone like me. I want to make movies and I don't know the first thing about where I would go to get the funding for it, because this stuff is expensive. So what the paper explores is some of those methods that I've looked up and discovered and that a lot of my filmmaker friends use. It takes a lot of time and effort, but these are some really tried and true methods that work most of the time. So just to give you kind of a couple ideas of what I'm going to be exploring, is number one, write a script and complete it and have it ready. A lot of filmmakers will have this idea like, let's make a movie about a dog that talks. Brilliant, let's go pitch it. But that's not how it works. You can't just do that. What you need to do is you need to take that, you write a script, you get your characters ready, you flesh it out, and you make the whole movie ready to start filming. And then you take it to them, because nobody's interested in a half-baked project. So if you actually want to find financial backing from a company, then make sure it's ready, make sure it's sellable, because if it's weird and way too specific, you're not going to get any sponsors. And make sure it's professional. You have to be professional about this, because you're appealing to professionals about something that makes them money. So be professional about it. One last thing I just wanted to mention, another way that you could raise money completely independently, which I'm going to flesh this out way more in the paper, but one of the coolest things is there's a website called GoFundMe that you've probably heard about, and a lot of people use it. If I want to raise money for something, I as an individual can go raise all the money I need to, advertise it, stuff like that, and I would have all the resources I need to that easy. No difficulty or no hoops to jump through, anything like that. And so a lot of filmmakers will use this as a opportunity. They'll pitch their film, they'll have their script ready, and they'll say, hey, this is a film I want to make. I don't want to go through a company. I want to make it myself. Here's my expenses. Here's how much I need. Be a part of this, and I'll put you in the credits, or I'll do something like that. They might do a reward tier, or it might just be for fun. And they'll advertise it. They'll advertise it to local filmmakers or just people on Facebook or stuff like that, because people like to get behind something. People like to have their name on something significant. Those are just a couple of things I'm going to mention in the paper. I'm going to flesh everything out a little bit more than that. Thank you for taking your time to listen to this video, and I really look forward to hearing the response from my paper. I enjoy writing, but I'm not really great at reports or stuff like that. I'm very informal and talkative. So thank you very much for your time, and have a wonderful day.